purpose of this series that we're doing is because we're dedicating this year to the apprentice. So we are trying to get more knowledge on the journey of the apprentice, the education of the apprentice. So we're really doing a big push for that this year with all of our social platforms, even with on our YouTube page as well. So yeah, we can kind of just get right into it if you are ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
All righty, perfect, no problem. So I kind of wanted to ask you, take us back to the beginning. How did you first get introduced into the trade education?
Yeah, mostly it was in the high school. We didn't have we had electricians,
Mhm.
electrical trade, then we had auto body, auto shop, and there was some metal shop there, wood shop, and I took the metal shop and got into the welding real actually the first, and then just kind of grew from there and it went to welding school after high school and uh I got into air conditioning after I got back for some reason, but enjoyed it. And there were a plumbing company too,
Okay.
and a lot of them are. So that's kind of where I picked up both trades. And once you learn one, you want to learn the other. And I was just a young kid back then, and I guess I showed up every day. So uh, went out with sheet metal first, and the next day I was with the plumbers because I was there.
Yeah.
So they took me, and you kind of learn both trades over the years, and then got into how they tie together
Hmm.
both those trades because a lot of the companies I've worked for did both.
Okay.
And learning one trade, what's better than that is to learn two. So that's how I got on it. At a younger age, I was always into building things or putting my toys together by myself or the furniture or TV stand or a brother's bunk bed, whatever. I always
Yeah.
like the tools and knowing how to fix things.
Yeah, me as well. I kind of was the same way. I was more into cars than anything. So I would
Yeah.
take the little toy cars apart and kind of reassemble them. So I can kind of relate to you. As you were kind of growing up and getting into trades and trade education, who were some of your early mentors or influencers doing your own interest into entering trades?
And probably that shop teacher there in high school. We built they had competition
Hmm.
and they're in middle school and doing some welding and stuff. We fixed a few desks there at the high school, built the toolbox out of sheet metal. Then we built a trailer, that goes on the back of a pickup truck to haul some of our projects down there. But
Wow,
we built the trailer, did all the welding and stuff. So
pretty
uh,
cool.
that's where I kind of got into it.
Nice, nice,
Real
nice.
good about working with the hands and when you're young, it's hard being in school all those years and not wanting to get out and move around
Hmm.
uh and in high school, you don't really know what you want to do anyway. So
Hmm.
but it just kind of fell into place and then looking for a job, that first company, it just happened to be in air conditioning in 1984 and they hired me. So I
Nice.
just went with them and just grew from there.
Nice, nice. So what kind of veered you into the instructor position? How did that come about?
I always, after my career, and it wasn't working, I always wanted to teach,
Hmm.
when I was 65, not
Hmm.
not 50 something. But then it just happened to be, but I always wanted to work here because I had went to school back and forth here for about 20 years.
Hmm.
Uh Given the opportunity to go to school at night, learn the plumbing and get your license and all the management, the supervisory classes, estimating, blueprint reading. and I just took advantage of it. I was always into the school. If there's something I liked, that was it, and just
Yeah.
grew from there. And then once I got the first license there, the plumbing license, it just grew from there, and now it's just all over the place. So
Oh,
there's
good.
plenty
Nice.
others.
Good, good, good. As we kind of step into apprenticeship and the journey and the education, how did classroom education complement what you were learning in the field?
When you're in the field, you have questions.
Hmm.
Why do we do it like that? Or, why does it have to go minimum of so far? And you ask, and you may or may not get a good answer.
Hmm.
Uh, but learning in the classroom and then out there in the field, you're putting what you've learned into practice, but also you know what they're talking about.
Right.
And one thing that I always, just couldn't stand was not knowing something that someone was talking about. And
Yes.
whether it was in a sub meeting, being a superintendent,
Hmm.
uh, where you're overseeing that trade or trades, because there's three that,
Right.
in the mechanical field, you want to know what they're talking about, be able to at least understand some of it of what you're managing.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's where it just grew and grew and grew. Uh, and once you've learned all that, and all the new stuff that's coming out these days is just amazing.
Hmm.
Uh, the tools and that we didn't have back in the day, and then to come back and teach, because that's the way I was. Once you built your career and go back, you've got to give back that knowledge.
Yeah.
If somebody gave it to you and took the time to train you,
Hmm.
you've got to return the favor. And being out there and a young kid and not knowing much, uh, the guy was trying to train you, or you get one of those that say, well, man, I'll just do it myself, man. It just takes too long to take. And that just irritated me. I said,
Yeah.
man, someone had to teach you, so you need to teach me.
Right.
And then after a while, it dawns on you that the more you teach someone out there in the field, the less you got to do, the more that he can pick up and do that. And you don't have to struggle so much doing all the work and just letting him watch or something. So
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the teaching both in the field and in here.
Hmm.
Uh, Bottom line, you help somebody in their path uh, in life to better themselves,
Exactly.
and you just want to say, well, maybe I helped him along his way a little bit. Maybe he'll remember that. So
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Well, in relation to being helpful and especially providing education and students in the classroom and also outside of the classroom, what challenges do apprentices face early on, and how should they work through them?
yeah, just what I said a few minutes ago about knowing what those guys are talking about out
Yeah.
there. Uh, Being somewhat prepared, learning the trade where you're a little more productive,
Hmm.
uh, and open your eyes to everything around you. And you really learn the other trades too, just being out there on a construction site. Because
Hmm.
most of my stuff was in construction
Yeah.
all these years. So, and being around those trades, and one guy had said it years ago best that, man, a few years in the trade of whatever you want, you're going to learn how to fix everything in your house in a few years anyway. So,
Yeah.
uh, but getting them prepared is the biggest thing. Being young and being out there in the world on your own and seeing all that's around you, they're just amazed. But you got to kind of watch their safety and make
Yeah.
sure they learn. And progress in the trade.
Yeah. How important would you say structured education is in building confidence as an apprentice?
Because the more they know and the more they can do by themselves without being shadowed all the time, uh, is the biggest thing.
Hmm.
They want to prove themselves, be out on their own. Once they get past that step of, well, I'm just out there and I just do what he tells me. This pipe goes there, I put it up there. Don't ask why, don't ask questions. I said, you're not going to get anywhere until you start asking those questions.
Right.
Uh, it's good to be fast and productive and hang this pipe or this duct up in the air, and be great and have it look good. But you got to know how the systems work and why we do it that way.
Yeah.
There's reasons, per code, just per the print. Uh, and that's great. These jobs these days, the schedule, and I've had some of my years in scheduling. Uh, the jobs go in so fast now, and some are kind of hard to get to, but we get to them.
Yeah.
But it's a production based thing, especially in construction. And if you're falling behind, you're going to get in trouble when you're holding somebody else up.
Exactly.
So,
Kind of speaking to also the education piece, and the importance of structured education, I kind of wanted to segue into the ride-along experience of The Apprentice. And I know because we go to a lot of school events, and I know I talk to middle schoolers, high schoolers, and they always have kind of the same questions over and over again. Tell us about what an apprentice should expect on their first ride-along.
it, be observant.
Hmm.
Whether they're going to a house to repair a water heater or something, watch everything that plumber does,
Hmm.
help him from meeting and greeting the customer to maybe even putting covers over boots before they go inside. Uh, that communication between the customer,
Hmm.
and the most important is listening, and let them tell you what the problem is, and then repeat it back, and then do that diagnosis part. Then go back out to the van, prepare what you need, and go in there minimum times
Hmm.
in and out the door, to get that job fixed and that customer happy.
Yeah. I definitely would
Because
agree with
usually
that.
when you get there, they're not very happy.
Exactly. They're trying to get the issue solved.
Yeah, that communication and listen, that customer relationship or soft skills as they call it, that's a big part of it,
Yeah,
especially on a with the service
absolutely.
guy. So
Yeah, I would emphasize that a lot, especially with a lot of our technicians, they have the skill knowledge, they have the knowledge, to apply as in doing the job, but as far as customer relations and building those communication
yeah,
tactics, that's very important.
yeah, there's we don't do very good at that side.
Yeah, and that's all right because there's always room for growth. There's always room for growth. So, kind of speaking to your experience as a successful instructor, I mean, your pass rate is absolutely amazing. What inspired you to move into teaching, and what also makes you a good instructor?
Well, working here, like I said, going to school all those 20 something years, I knew the system, I knew the people.
Hmm.
I helped guys at my other job get signed up for class here and signed them up. And also with the plumbing board, went to those meetings, and I learned the system. I
Yeah.
went through it myself and I learned the system and I knew who to talk to. I knew the process
Hmm.
that they do, the paperwork that they needed, and started helping them get their license, made sure they all the paperwork, all the classes right, and getting them licensed. Uh, it just kind of came second nature to me because
Yeah.
I hit all the both sides of the aisle there. Uh, and then when it came and the COVID stuff hit, and I knew one of the instructors was retiring, so I called and asked if he was retiring, and they said, "Yeah, pretty soon." I said, "Well, I'm interested." So,
Yeah.
and that's how it became, and it was not a issue or anything. So,
Nice, nice. I like how you spoke to, kind of the process and the situation. And there's not really a way to achieve your end goal or be successful without the process. So that the importance of the process.
yeah, and it kind of became a hobby over the years,
Yeah.
learning the process, the structure of something. Uh, how they wanted the paperwork at all these other states for licenses and
Hmm.
going through all that and getting licensed in other states. There's a process.
Right.
You just got to follow the process, what they want, how they want it, and it was kind of a game after a while. So
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed it.
Got the hang of
Yeah,
it.
knowing
Nice.
how to go through that, it kind of was fun.
Yeah, nice. And that kind of brings me to my next question. What's the most rewarding part of watching students grow in the classroom?
They they get there, they don't know what to expect and stuff. You kind of got to break the ice and laugh a little or watch a funny little video,
Hmm.
get them open up and kind of show them the process of the school and how we do it. And then after a while, they'll start, they answering the questions and getting better at it. I give, quizzes just on a blank sheet of paper. I give them a blank sheet of paper and I ask questions
Yeah.
as the classes go on some things of what we covered a month ago, what we covered, 6 months ago. Do a little math review and code questions, especially just off the top of my head. And as they do that, 40, 50, 80, 100, one of them was 120 questions
Oh, wow.
quiz. But as they do those, their scores get better.
Yeah.
It gives them confidence after a little while.
Hmm.
And then it tells me who needs a little more attention
Yeah.
to some of the subjects, and then we'll have another quiz, maybe the next couple days later, and do that, and it their scores get better,
Yeah.
better, 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 and then I'll just, if we got some time there at the end of the day, I'll just spit out some questions, and boy, they can't answer it fast enough because they know now, and I just burn it into their heads.
Yeah.
They don't
That's
have
the best way to do it.
any problems there, and then and I've heard the same thing over and over. I said, well, how you passed your test? How long was it? Well, about 3 hours, the computer test. I said, well, how long did it take you? Oh, about 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But 20, I hear the most, about 90%. And they
Nice.
pass. And I don't care what you passed. There you go.
Right.
Uh, but it's keeping it in their mind because they'll forget it
Yeah.
within a few days, and it's 2 months before they come back. That's
Hmm.
why I keep quizzing them and quizzing them. They know that stuff off the top of their head.
Right.
Uh, and then taking other tests, they'll call or text me and questions
Hmm.
uh and here lately we've had a couple guys get their masters.
Nice.
One guy was my student's already graduated. He was calling me and texting me, asking me questions while he's waiting in the parking lot.
Wow.
And he went in there, and a few hours later he said he passed. And then about a month later, the other guy texted me and he said, "This is one of my top students.
Hmm.
They already got their tradesmen, their journeymen and stuff." He said, "What do I need to do to take the masters?" I said, "Well, you need a prep class.
Hmm.
Would be best." And then I didn't hear nothing back. And then 2 weeks later, he said, "I passed." I said, "Would you pass what? Your masters?" And it was, I think yesterday. I texted him again. I said, "Did you take a master prep class?" He
Hmm.
said no. So just what he learned in the class and stuff,
Wow.
18 months after he graduated,
Wow.
he remembered all that,
That's
all the
amazing.
sizing we do in those books. And I take it to a little higher level, a little
Yeah.
harder than the book sometimes. Then that way, when they ever do it, it's pretty easy on that
Yeah.
test form because
Yeah.
it's easy. I got into the sizing of that when I studied for the master, and I mean, I really got into it. So,
Good.
I've enjoyed that and got into ASPE, the American Society of Plumbing Engineers, and
Very nice.
passed their design test. And it, it's easy teaching that on code, all my code certifications, and then that plumbing, because in the codes I know how they get to those charts, where
Hmm.
those numbers in the charts come from,
Hmm.
and why they're there. And then the code, it's taking all those uh, code certification classes those years, and almost just, they make fun of me. I could just open the book right to the page that I need. I don't have to turn a bunch of pages or look in the index. I can just turn to that page.
Yeah.
No index, no nothing.
Nice. Nice. I mean, those sound like some pretty good success stories, especially with the one who didn't even have to take the prep class. It kind of ingrained
Yeah,
in his
yeah, that one
brain.
was he was pretty exceptional.
Nice.
So now I've got two guys that have, taken it, one with the prep class and one
Mhm.
without. So
Nice.
either or they've passed.
Good, good. Well, that kind of brings me to my next question, especially talking about these success stories with some of these students. What are some of the commonalities that you see in a successful student?
Once they get confidence
Hmm.
and the quizzes are looking good, and we go through the book and the tests, and sometimes I call them to the board and they figure out the problem or the sizing exercise. Uh, when you get some of these students, it's usually and at the other play some of them struggle with math, uh, and what we do and the volumes and the fractions and all that. But guys, you got to learn it. You all learned it before in school and just forgot it like everybody does,
Exactly.
unless you use it every now. That's why we keep refreshing,
Hmm.
and it comes natural. And the ones that say, "Oh, I never was good in math. I never was good." Oh no, no, yeah, I don't. And they almost give up,
Yeah.
and then little bits and pieces they start getting it, and
Hmm.
they can hit that calculator almost as fast as I can on some of these problems we work. I know one in particular. Uh, he finally got it, and then he'd work those problems pretty fast. So
Nice. Nice. Now I know we've talked about the education and ride-alongs, but kind of more on a lighthearted note. Are there any funny or unexpected or unforgettable moments from your teachings over the time?
Yeah, the one class that I had, I call them my, it started with 16,
Hmm.
and then as one guy was had some health issues, a few got fired, a few uh didn't they quit their companies and stuff. But we wound up with seven
Hmm.
at the end. That class was just I call them the Magnificent Seven.
Hmm.
They were loud, obnoxious, uh, but going through the book, they'd start reading, and then the other guy'd read, and one would read faster, and then the other one would read faster. Then they'd finish it quicker than I wanted them to.
Right.
We read out loud, and then I said, "Okay, I'll give you some time to study for your test." And it was like 5 minutes. Oh, let's go, test. You take the test, and that was it. Then it was break time, and they'd draw pictures or on their phone till everybody finished. But they did the work. They did it good.
Hmm.
They were loud, but almost everyone had their license. Usually, everyone almost has their license before they finish that thing.
Nice.
And but that class was a good one, and the one that just got his master without the prep course, he was the one in there and top graduate, and the other ones just blew through their written test at the plumbing board. Yeah, those were some good students. And then I got to thinking, I said, man, they're loud and obnoxious because they were bored. So
Yeah.
I
They
said,
were
but
that good,
trying to
right?
give them more things to chew on
Hmm.
and figure out. Uh, and I've called over the years. I call vendors in that I know and help present their products and stuff and the new technology that's out there, and they get some maybe some tools or a cup or tape measure and stuff, and they really like that,
Hmm.
and it gives them of the real story that's out there
Yeah.
uh, on new stuff, and that's it's kind of icing on the cake of the courses as their time comes through here. So
Nice.
they
So
like
kind of
that.
speaking into the new things happening, how do you see apprenticeship or trade education evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
They already have some of it, the electronic electronic flush valves, the
Hmm.
battery operated ones. You take your iPhone and run down a restroom in an office building, and it shows which the battery life left on it when
Wow.
you got to change batteries. Uh, the metering of the water in the building, how much water they're using, and how much water they're letting out. It's kind of that lead building and stuff. The virtual glasses from manufacturers on how to fix their product. They do the glasses on
Yeah.
and phone like that. In other trades too, and HVAC and how to repair something and do this, and
Hmm.
I see that where that's going. And then as far as billing and AI, you're just going to scan what you did on these barcodes, and that's going to print out the bill automatically. You
Right.
have to do nothing.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I see, but I don't see a robot going out and doing plumbing myself,
Yeah.
or digging a ditch, or tunneling under a house to fix a line. I don't see that
Yes.
anytime soon.
Right. And I mean that kind of brings us to the future of the trades industry. What advice would you give someone that's just starting their apprenticeship or someone that is considering getting into apprenticeship?
As you get into the a plumbing trade or an HVAC trade, or uh, first you've got to learn the trade to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Then, as your career goes, and endorsements on your get your license, endorsements on your license, uh, seeing the construction or the service, there's other positions you can move into. Drawing the prints, the BIM and VDC, estimating, supervising,
Yeah.
the medical gas, being that service manager or
Yeah.
construction manager of that company. You're starting off on your own. Uh, you have choices, but bottom line, you've got to learn the plumbing trade to know what you're drawing or estimating,
Yeah.
and learn what it really takes to put in work
Hmm.
on that site or do repairs on houses or commercial buildings in a service environment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I like how you kind of took it to the opportunities that can be presented after apprenticeship. That's very important because, it starts off as you get into the trade and you're an apprentice and then you continue on your journey, but you don't realize how many other opportunities are out there afterwards. You can become a business owner. There's a bright future for those who are
Yes.
apprentice and those who are getting into the trade. So that concludes all the questions that I have for you. I really appreciate your time today. Very insightful information that we cannot wait to share. Are there any final thoughts that you can give us? Any tidbits?
No, bottom line, we just go through those books. You put a lot of your own experiences in there in your teachings with the class as
Hmm.
we go through those subjects. I'll say, well, don't do this because I know one guy that did,
Hmm.
and you don't want to do it this way because this happens. Uh, you don't want to always tell them the mistakes right off the bat, but they've got to learn through their own mistakes because they're
Yeah.
going to make them. But you make it once, you maybe make it twice, but you better not make it a third time.
Right.
You've got to learn from your mistakes and do it. But I try to give them all the mistakes that come up on jobs, whether the plumber's fault or the other trades, but you
Hmm.
also got to watch those other trades because you depend a lot on them of where they lay their walls out and
Yeah.
stuff. And you might want to check them a little bit, just kind of spot check things.
Yeah.
Uh, Otherwise, you'd be tearing up walls and stuff. And do this because this is what's going to happen. Uh, don't use this tool this way, or this could happen.
Yeah.
uh the safety aspect of it, the installation aspect of it, man, they've got to know the good and the bad of that,
Yeah.
so they'd be successful. But
Good.
as far as the test is the terminology you use, proper terminology,
Hmm.
uh knowing what each and every definition really means,
Yeah.
and how it applies to plumbing and what it really means, uh and watch how you call something or say something, use the proper terminology.
Yeah.
uh One, people say hot water heater. There's no such thing. Hot water doesn't need heated.
Yeah.
They go in the
Right.
bed and they'll go in a building here, office. Where's your bathroom? Well, we don't have bathroom. We got restroom. There's no bath. There's no shower in
You're
this building.
right.
And they look at you like you're from Mars or something. But you got to teach them young.
Yeah.
Use the proper, and honestly, that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Just the many times we refer to the code book, and I'll say highlight this, highlight that. Know that you must know that.
Yeah.
Uh, and then after a while, they'll start getting it, getting those quizzes and stuff. Then they build their confidence because they see their marks going up, uh, their grades improving, and
Hmm.
one guy who took his test, he was getting him quizzes, and he was slowly getting he'd get mad because he'd still get below 60, and then he started getting up there, and then he started getting up in the 80s and 90s, and went and took his test a few weeks later, and man couldn't wait to call me and tell me. So
Right. Good.
couldn't believe it. He passed, and he was so happy.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I really appreciate you for um, doing this today and answering all of the questions and kind of helping us get towards that apprenticeship series that have just started. We are excited for all the new things to come, and we are excited to continue this series on our YouTube and social postings as well. So we will see you guys next time.
Okay, thank you, Cameron.